You know the vibes. Welcome back to another episode of the Hoop Genius podcast brought to you by NBA 2K24. Myself, Momuzi, alongside me as always, the one and only Mr. BJ Armstrong. How you doing?
I'm just learning. Today is just I'm just getting educated. I'm just getting educated. So it's all good. It's all good. Real names, no gimmicks. And
Yes, sir.
you just Mo's just teaching today, and I'm just learning.
Well, I wanted to get your perspective on something today. Because we often talk about the game of basketball and people make these mock trades and free agency as if it's a video game. And if you do want to play a video game, 2K24 link is in the description. However, there is a very human element to the NBA. And an interview came out today from Damian Lillard where he says he's not very happy in Milwaukee, not basketball wise, not with the Bucks, but in terms of his personal life. He says, I go to practice, I go home, I watch boxing, I play video games. I type in fight hype on YouTube 100 times, praying for something new to be on there. I don't have much of a life here, but that's what comes with making a big boy decision. You've got to get down and figure that out. BJ, how much of a difference does it make being an NBA player in a city like Milwaukee, which is notoriously boring, compared to being an NBA player in Miami, which is where Dame wanted to go to?
Well, it's pretty fascinating. You know, when you hear things today, it's just like I like that's a like I happen to just I listened to that. I saw a clip. I got
You
sucked
saw the
in. I
interview,
was on.
yeah.
Yeah, I saw the interview. So I was like, God, that's an interesting statement. But like that's an interesting statement to me. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to listen to the interview. And after I heard the interview, I was like, oh, that was clickbait. That's
Mm-hmm.
so.
Mm-hmm.
All right, if you look at it, you play in a city like Miami, for instance, or you play in Milwaukee. Like during the year, I got a job to do. Like I don't know when, but maybe it's different now. I tried to play in 82 games. Recovery was part of my preparation. Okay. What I mean by recovery, like, okay, let's say I live in a place like Miami. I've been to Miami. I get it. There's the beach, there's great restaurants there. Whatever it is you want to do is there. But if I'm playing and I'm dedicated to my profession, I'm not going to the beach. I'm not, I'm not, you know, hanging out at the club to 2 in the morning, knowing I got a game the next night. I don't know how you are enjoying the city. Like you say, what are you trying to do? Like, I go to practice at 10. Practice is I probably get done with my routine, but 2:33. I'm gonna try to get off my feet. At least a couple hours, I would imagine, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would at least that's 4 or 5. Grab me a nice meal, relax, because I know I got a game the next night. I'm traveling, I'm packing my bag. I don't, what are you trying to do? Like, I don't get what are you trying to do? Like I've had friends who played in LA. Like, the only people that got sucked into the whole LA scene were the young guys who didn't have enough experience to realize that, oh, I got a game the next night. Like, as a
And
vet,
also, you spend 50% of the season on the road.
yes. So that's what I'm saying. Like I don't understand. Like I don't understand this concept of, oh, I play in an exciting city, or I play in no. Like most of my time was in a gym. I could have been anywhere during the season. I could be anywhere. Now in the summertime, yeah, I went out a little bit, enjoyed the city a little bit, did things because I had enough time to do it. But during the season, it didn't matter if I was. It didn't matter to me
Does
because
it
I
d-
was on the road, traveling, doing what I was doing.
does it weigh into free agency decisions? How much does that weigh in the city that it is? Because, a team like the Celtics, no matter how good they are, notoriously, they don't get good free agents wanting to sign there. Same with other small markets or colder weather temperatures. You see the big free agents always want to sign
Yeah.
in LA or Miami or maybe even New York for the branding purposes.
Well, again, well, I don't know. Maybe I'm just cursed. I came into this league and I got a little taste of winning. And once I got a little taste of it, I'm stuck there. I don't care where I play. You can put me anywhere as long as I win. That's just how I'm wired now. But that's how I've always played. I've always played with that idea. I just wanted to win. Didn't really matter. I always wanted to just win. Do I think it matters? You know, when you have a good team, it's amazing to me how all of a sudden the small markets become destinations. Okay. It always amazing to me. It amazes me when you have a great player that plays in a small market like a Cleveland, or now you see Milwaukee and you start seeing guys. I don't think it matters, but to some it may matter. To
You
some it may.
say that it matters, but like Milwaukee have got Giannis there, and Dame did not want to go there. He wanted to go to Miami, even though Miami's team is worse than Milwaukee's team.
Well, when I look at, you know, I just have to tell it like I see it. You know, guys say a lot of things. People say a lot of things. All right, if I want to go to Miami, don't sign with the team that you signed with. you know how to do it. You know how to do it. If I said, hey, Mo, I want to come to London, I know how to do it. I know how to do it.
Then pull up.
If you want to go to Miami, you know how to get there. If that's you, yes, you go there, no harm, no foul, good for you. See you in Miami. Sounds good. But you do one thing, then you say something else. They're not lined up. So to me, all right, you know how to get to Miami. If that's what you want to do. Everybody knows how to get. If you really want to go to a place, you just play it out. Like, and that's your prerogative. That's your
Or you play it out, and the year before free agency, like what Anthony Davis did, before he became a free agent, he said, "I want to go to LA. Trade me to LA, or I'm going to leave for nothing in the summer." He didn't sign the extension in New Orleans and then say, with 4 or 5 years remaining on his contract, "Now I want to go and play in LA."
Right. You do that, and now the team probably will say, well, I don't want to lose you for nothing. I don't want to drafted this guy with the #1 pick, and then 4 years later, 5 years later, whatever the case may be, I can't recall that situation. You don't want to lose that for nothing. So all the other teams are like, well, we're not going to trade for him because he's not going to sign with us.
Mm-hmm.
So now you basically, that's your only option. If you feel that is your only option, you know, you can make whatever choice you want to do. However, you know, I just, I don't know. I think I've been around long enough now. I like call guys out on it. If you want to go someplace, that's your prerogative. Go there. But when you start signing and then, well, I got a whatever the case may be, 3-year sign or 4-year extension, and then all of a sudden you want to go there, it's like, well, I mean, you can say anything. I don't have a problem with saying it, but this is business now. Now the business is you signed the deal, and then all of a sudden you had a change of heart after you signed the deal.
Mm.
Like, that's just what it is.
Let me ask you this on a more personal note. When the NBA had their expansion draft and you got picked by the Toronto Raptors, you not wanting to play in Toronto, was that more of basketball reasons rather than just not wanting to be in Toronto, the city?
The city I loved. Like, Toronto was one of the greatest places. I mean, listen, as far as the city, the people, the organization, it was fantastic. It was just a different timeline where I was at in my career at that particular time. It was just basketball. It had nothing to do with the city. It had nothing to do with the team or anything other than they were just on a different timeline. They were like, you know, they were a few years away from trying to win. Not that you're going to win, from trying to win. They had a plan, right? It wasn't called tanking. It was just, hey, we're going to accumulate as many high draft picks as we possibly can to get, that's normally where the best players are at, and then build for the future. Well, I wasn't in a future at that stage of my career.
Yeah.
It just, that was it. It had nothing to do. I mean, honestly, when I went up there, it was a tough decision because I love the city. And I've said this many a time. Probably one of the mistakes I've probably made was not just sticking that out because I love the city so much. And you can see the excitement for the fan base that's up there. It was obvious when you went up there, it was going to work. It just wasn't the right timing for my career. But I enjoyed the city. And Mo, you've been with me. I'm a food person, and
Hell
you
yeah.
talking about food and culture and music and I now you say the vibes,
And
it's good vibes up there
I
in
know a couple
Toronto.
good vibes in Toronto too.
Yeah, it's great vibes. Okay, great vibes. All right, I went up there in the summer, and it was like,
Hell yeah.
it was like fantastic. I mean, I'm all about Toronto. People ask me about one of my favorite cities. Hey, we the North. I understand that.
Did you hit the
Okay.
Caravana, the carnival they have in the summer?
Hey, I'm trying. Hey, like I'm saying, all I'm gonna say is this: you say you know the vibe. I don't have no problems with Toronto.
I
Okay,
feel you, dog. I
okay,
feel
I don't
you.
have no problems with Toronto. Toronto, hey, that's a beauty. I love Canada. Like, Vancouver was incredible. All right, I don't have a problem up there. It was just a different time. Like I said, I always tried to just focus on winning. And that's all I wanted was a chance. And if you give me a chance, I would have gone anywhere. And that's just what it is. But as far as fun factor, man, I can't imagine how much fun it would be to win in a city like Toronto. Because you got a whole country behind you, right?
I mean, we saw that when they won the championship in 2019.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Unbelievable scenes.
I just that was, and any player I've ever had up there, they're like, oh wow, you come to visit a lot. I'm always the food mode is incredible, incredible food, and I'm a foodie.
Mm-hmm.
That place, I just eat. I just work out and eat. That's all I do. I don't even go to the games. I just work out and eat. Yes.
Well, seeing as Dame Lillard is not too happy off the court in Milwaukee, he
And
can
by
be
the way, I
happy.
want to say this about Milwaukee.
Go ahead.
I'll say that Milwaukee has low key, good food up there.
I'm not buying it.
Oh, no,
I'm lactose intolerant. I ain't eating all that cheese up in Milwaukee.
No. Low key, very underrated.
Okay.
Low key.
Well, they better get back to the finals so we can go check it out, huh? How about that, Giannis?
Low, and good culture up there. Great museums. Oh, yeah. But it's so close. It was so close to Chicago. So I got a chance to explore.
Okay.
Up there. Yeah. So no, it's really, it's low key a really, really nice city. Yeah. The only problem is it's just so close to Chicago. You're comparing it, but it has everything you need is in the mill, as we call it up there. What? Everything, hey, Bo, everything you need in the mill. Shout out to the mill.
I mean,
I'll just let you know.
When I was in Cancun, I made some friends from Milwaukee. That's what I'm gonna say on that. But I never visited. If you want to see me, I'll be in Cancun.
Trust me on this one. Trust me on this.
But speaking of Milwaukee, right? Dame not too happy off the court, but on the court, the Milwaukee Bucks are now 8-8. They're back up to 500 since firing Adrian Griffin. Under Adrian Griffin, they had the 22nd ranked defense in the NBA. Under Doc Rivers now, they're up to 6th. BJ, is there enough time now between basically the start of March until the playoffs for them to really step it up a gear and make a serious run at this thing in the playoffs? Because they've added some, obviously Jay Crowder coming back from injury and Patrick Beverley. They've kind of bolstered their defense a little bit. And what I like about Doc Rivers is that he's switching up their defense. Some games they'll play in a drop. Some games, like against the Mavs, against Luka, they'll hedge. They're playing a lot of different things. Some games, I think the Timberwolves, they've been switching a lot. Do you think they've got enough in them now to make a serious run? Or is this more of we're going to build momentum now and then next season we're going to go at it?
Well, as you know, Mo, I'm rooting for the Milwaukee Bucks. So we hope
We
that they
don't.
can figure it
You
out.
do.
Well,
I don't.
I hope that they can figure it out. I really do. I hope they can figure it out. I love Giannis, Brook Lopez. You know, I never want to see anyone get fired. So I have to admit I'm a little saddened by what happened with Adrian Griffin. However, you know, I'm friends with Adrian and I'm also friends with Doc. You know what I mean? So it's like I'm really sad about one, and then Doc comes in and they're trying to figure it out. I will say this. When you're playing in this league for quite some time, and I saw this when I was on good teams, one of the more difficult transitions that people don't talk about in the NBA is the following. Being a good player on a mediocre team or a bad team is quite different than being a good player on a great team or a team that's expected to win a championship. The most fascinating thing about this trade, which I've said in private, I've never said this publicly.
The Dame trade
was the Damian Lillard trade to me. And the reason that's an interesting trade to me is because as a guard, Mo, unlike as a big guy, there isn't a lot of room for error, meaning you can be tall in this league, lose a step, but you can counter that loss of speed and quickness with size and strength. Right? So Giannis can be tall, athletic, and then suddenly he can change his game, but still be a top 2 or 3 player in this league and just change the way he plays a little bit. All right. As a guard, once you lose a step, a smaller guard, very rarely can you change the way you play unless you are a guard who earlier in your career, you were doing a lot of driving. And then later in your career, you shot a lot of threes. A la Jason Kidd. Yes. Okay. Okay. Very rarely. But he wasn't a little guy. He was actually 6'4", 6'5". So, you know, he had a little bit more room for error than us little guys.
Yeah.
Okay. What's fascinating about the Damian Lillard trade was the following. He was traded for an elite defensive player who was a championship caliber player, already proven in Jrue Holiday. Jrue Holiday is an anchor on the defensive end. I don't care how you slice it, how you dice it. He is an anchor on the defensive end, and he has proven that he can shut down, not defend. He is capable of shutting down an opposing team's elite all-defensive guard. He's shown that, and he can do it through an entire series. He can do it for one game. He's capable. He is a rock on the defensive end. Now, offensively, we know what Dame could do. And I hope Dame is listening, because to me, this has been the challenge. And I said I was going to give, normally, Mo, I give you 25 games to figure out who you are. But I said, and I remember this, Mo, when I would see players get traded to our team who were really good players on other teams in my heyday when I played on a championship caliber team. It normally takes those guys 60 to 65 games before they finally figure out, oh, this is a little different. You practice a little different. You're playing in a game a little different. What's the difference in the game? You play a little different, Mo, in certain areas or certain places in the country. For instance, you'll play the Lakers a little different. The energy is a little different. When you go to Madison Square Garden, the energy is a little different. When you're playing against the best team in the league, the energy is a little different. When you, at one point, I don't know if it's the same now, but when you used to walk into the old Boston Garden, it was a little different, Mo. I don't care if they were good, bad. You know, when I first went out and walked on the floor.
So does that affect the style of play on the court then? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Damian Lillard is, in my opinion, he's just beginning to realize how to accept the other team's best effort. Because when you are in the lower half of the league, you're actually evaluating yourself against the Milwaukee Bucks. He's never had that in Portland. You didn't go to Portland going, oh man, that's the team. I'm gonna measure myself for that game. For the most part, you're saying, I'm gonna try to, steal. I'm gonna steal this win out here tonight.
Yeah.
You follow what I'm saying?
I hear you.
So Damian Lillard, in my opinion, he's just finally coming around to the fact that he has to be up for every single game now. And he's taking the other team's best effort, not the other guard's best effort. He's always did his matchup. Him and Russell Westbrook, for instance, that's a matchup. Him and Damian Lillard, that's a matchup. It's different now when you have the team. You follow what I'm saying, Mo? I think that was the most underappreciated thing about the trade that no one talked about is when you're coming to a team that's on a championship caliber level. That's why I think the transition for the Celtics has been so smooth in the regular season. Because Drew Holiday has been doing this for the last 2 or 3 years.
Porzingis hasn't.
But we're not asking Porzingis to be in the top 2 or 3 for a team. We're not asking Porzingis to carry a team.
You can make the case that Porzingis is their second, maybe third best player.
I'll say it again. We're not asking him to carry the team.
But neither is Drew Holiday.
Drew Holiday was without question there. If
he's not carrying the team, though.
Okay, I want to. When he was with the Milwaukee Bucks, he was arguably the second most important player on the team.
Yes.
Defensively, right now, for the Boston Celtics, I can assure you this: when it gets thick over there in Boston in the playoffs, Drew Holiday will be in. Drew Holiday will be the frontline guy on the defensive end for that group. He will be. Why? Because we know we're going to need stops. We know we're going to have to defend some guard at some level. And the way he plays, he might even defend. I've seen him defend Embiid. I've just seen this guy. He'll defend Giannis.
He's defending the bigs, yeah.
He's done to defend it. This guy is a foundational player. When they won in the finals, I mean, this guy guarded Devin Booker. He guarded Chris Paul. He guarded everybody. So we're hoping that Porzingis, I hope that the Porzingis shows up. I really do. If you talk about a guy with a question mark, you and I had this with our good friend Parking Lot Perry. There's only more so than the Celtics. Porzingis has the biggest question mark on his back than any player entering into the playoffs because of what you just said, Mo. He's been fantastic. I mean, you talk about a great trade. I mean, this should put their front office in, executives of the year. But Mo, when you get to the playoffs, the Celtics are used to like cashing in on the deal.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how he's going to perform, Mo. No, neither do you or me or anyone else. Well, this is going to be fascinating to watch. However, I know what Jason Tatum's going to do. I know what Jaylen Brown's going to do.
Do you know for Milwaukee what Damian Lillard is going to do now with these expectations?
I don't know that. Hey, Mo, I don't know. That's what I'm saying, Mo. That's why I've held on to this for quite some time because I know how difficult it is to go from playing with expectations. Like you asked a fascinating question, and I didn't answer it the way I really want to answer. You said what team has the biggest expectations? And I thought about it, and I know you and I was joking about your Celtics, but you know who the team who has the most expectations to me?
Milwaukee.
No.
I said
Denver
Phoenix.
Nuggets.
Oh, you said Denver Nuggets. Oh, the defending champs.
I didn't. You and I got on some weird playing around with the Celtics, but the Denver Nuggets, and here's why. The Denver Nuggets, as you know, Mo, I say this all the time. You need depth to go and make a playoff run.
Mm.
The Denver Nuggets are -2, not 1, 2 very important pieces for them just a year ago. Bruce Brown was sensational. Jeff Green, hey, Those were two phenomenal pieces for them that played quality closing minutes for them in the NBA Finals. You're down those two players, Mo, and we're still saying we're expecting the Denver Nuggets to come out of the West. Think about that, Mo.
Mm-hmm.
You can lose two of your top 8 players, and we are still saying, yeah, I think they're going to win it. Now, you know who's carrying that pressure, Mo?
Who?
Jokic.
Of course.
That's putting, he already has the book bag on his back. Now you just you weighted it down now to the fact that this guy, he's got Mo, he's like, wait a minute, you didn't sign, you didn't even replace these guys. And then you're still saying, hey, we're going to win the championship this year.
Yep.
And to his credit, the big fella is stepping up to the challenge, him and Jamal Murray. So when you play with that level of expectations, Mo, that's the first thing I see is this guy says, I'm going to figure it out no matter what, which I applaud. I think that level of stress, Mo, is much more difficult than sneaking up on people.
Well, speaking of sneaking up on people, the Oklahoma City Thunder right now, obviously been at the top of the Western Conference all season long. They're shooting a league best 39.8% from 3. They currently have 7 different players shooting 40% plus from downtown on 2+ attempts a game. Jalen Williams, Lindy Waters III, Isaiah Joe, Cason Wallace, Kenrick Williams, Chet Holmgren, Lou Dort, and Shea is also shooting 38.9% on 3.4 attempts per game, and Aaron Wiggins is shooting 51% on 1.6 attempts per game. Do you think that is something we'll see maintained in the playoffs, the red hot 3-point shooting from such a young team?
Well, you know what I'm going to say to this. Well, you can already answer the question for me.
No, go ahead. Let them know.
Listen, this has been one of the greatest turnarounds I've seen. When I say greatest turnarounds, well, there's steps to this thing called excellence. You just don't go from the outhouse to the penthouse. You gradually improve. Yeah, you get to the 8th seed, and then the following year you get to the 4th or the 6th seed, and then you finally get there. Well, Mo, they were in the play-in last year, and now they're tied for first or tied for second or whatever, the best record in the Western Conference.
Yeah, they're tied with Minnesota 41-17.
Yes. So when you see that level,
like
of
last season, they won 42 games total. So if they win their next game, they've already surpassed what they did last season.
Yeah. So now when you see this type of jump, suddenly now you're saying, all right, they could finish think about it. They could finish the season, the regular season, with the number 1 seed in the Western Conference. Now they go from just trying to get into the playoffs to saying suddenly now, well, we're expecting them to get to the conference finals with no playoff experience.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that.
It's crazy.
Okay. You and I both know the game is going to change. That's why they picked up Bismack Biyombo. They know this. They don't know how their team is going to respond under duress. They have no playoff experience. These guys are just playing free and having a good time. But you don't know who your team really is until you get to a playoff experience, because once you get to the playoffs, everything you want to know about your group, you're going to find out. Unfortunately or fortunately, they're going to have expectations. They're not going to get to the playoffs and we're going to go, oh man, this is great. Every game they win is an experience for them. If they get bounced out in the first round, you and I are going to be saying they were upset.
They're the number 1 seed.
With no experience.
Well, there is no expectation, but being the number 1 seed,
but there has to be your number 1. Exactly. So I think this playoff run, they're way ahead of schedule. But I want to give Sam Presti and his team credit for understanding what's going to be needed. Now, Are they a physical team? No. Do they play a slow down game? No. The fact that he went and got Bismack Biyombo lets me know that he's saying, yeah, we're fun. Yeah, we're exciting. Yeah, we play fast. But you know what, guys?
When it's crunch time.
When it's crunch time, we're going to need this guy right here to bang it up, get a little physical, and get down and dirty. Mm-hmm. Okay? If we're going to advance. Why?
Also, it will help Shea, but because he's setting solid screens.
Yeah, exactly. So what you're seeing right now is a change in their culture, and you're seeing an executive saying, I'm not going to mess with what we got going. Clearly, they got something going great right now. Like, they are so far ahead of schedule right now, you can't say a word. However, we both know that that style of play that they're doing right now is not going to advance once they play against a championship caliber team like the Denver Nuggets. Because the big fella, I don't see anybody on their team other than a Bismack Biyombo. No one can stop him that can even
I don't
match
even think
up with
respect
him.
To Biz, no one can stop him.
No one can stop him. But you got to at least be able to match up. There isn't a player on their team, with the exception of Bismack, that can even, like you could say, match up. Because you can't put Chet on him. That's just too big of a difference in size and strength. You can't do that. And that can't be his first or second playoff game playing against that guy, right? So it's fascinating to watch. I'm going to keep a close eye on it, but congrats to them because they've earned it. And it's going to be fascinating to watch them play once the playoffs begin, because they're going to be playing now with expectations. And I think they lost to New Orleans. Did they lose to New Orleans last year? Is that who they lost to? Or did they beat? Oh no, they beat New Orleans. They beat New Orleans, I think, in the play-in, and then they lost to Minnesota. I believe that's how it went.
They went to the Timberwolves. Timberwolves won that one.
Mm-hmm. And then they lost.
Yeah, they beat the Pelicans.
Yeah, they beat the Pelicans. Yeah, so it should be good. But
let's see. I'm excited, man. There's only a couple months left now. I got Ramadan starting soon, and then it'll be time for the playoffs.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So that's another episode of the Hoop Genius podcast. Make sure you subscribe. YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts from. Make sure you tap in with us and subscribe every day. You can see us online now. You can see us everywhere. YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter. We everywhere. So, join the wave, join the Discord. It's linked in the description. You can also get your copy of NBA 2K24 there. And until tomorrow, get buckets.